Lackadaisy is a webcomic about anthropomorphic cats living in Prohibition America, a time period across the world, but especially in America throughout the 1920s, where alcohol was banned due to the moral implications of people get way worse when they're drunk, and was one of the first big pushes by feminists. This was also before refrigeration was big and alcohol alternatives weren't that huge, so people needed their fix and they turned to crime, which is where you get the term bootleg and gangsters from. And eventually they made a pilot, brought to you by Iron Circus Animation. I never actually read the comic before the pilot, and I only know a few things outside of what's explained in the pilot. With text explaining where we are, it begins with a very 1920s deco arts theater, zooming into this crazy cat singing about the Mississippi River.
Mississippi.
Specifically set in St. Louis, Missouri, in 1927. His name is Rocky, played by Michael Kovacs.
But sports for imps, not elderly.
His companions are mocking him and grave robbing. They are Freckle, played by Belle Rusop, and Ivy Pepper, played by Lisa Ryman. Rocky would help, but his noodle arms, and he's keeping up the spirits, then he falls. Just as Freckle found the coffin to what's-his-face, Rocky's noodle arms can't dig a hole, but can lift a casket, along with his cousin Freckle, who is starting to have second doubts and wants to go home to Mom. But he also thinks Ivy kinda cute.
100 years past, Burke and Hare were up to much worse, and things turned out just fine for them.
Burke and Hare refer to criminals in Scotland that unalive 16 people. You are now imagining them as cats.
Didn't they hang him?
Details, Freckle, details.
Now show me your crowbar skills.
The coffin actually hides whiskey. The tombstones actually say things, that's kinda funny. But the trio gets spotted and shot at by two Cajuns. The siblings, Seraphine and Nicodeme, played by Benny Lathame and Malcolm Ray, aka the black guy from the newer Nostalgia Critic videos, who apparently is a bit Cajun.
Spoken like a true furry virgin.
Malcolm, I didn't know you were bilingual.
Lackadaisy wanted me for a reason.
Right in the back with them is Mordecai, played by YouTuber Sungwon Cho, who's been in quite a lot of things. And Oakley actually did comic dubs of Lackadaisy long before the pilot. The crew just ended up liking his voice for Mordecai, and that's a lesson for us all to actually get out there and get noticed. So the trio has a bucket from them, and Ivy gets one hell of a driver's ed test. There's pancakes in the back of the car because Rocky really likes them. Buy Lackadaisy on vinyl. And that's no 6-string katana, that's a Chicago typewriter. And they're gonna need it, booze is leaking. Sarah finds reflection in Morty's glasses, as she also mentions he might get sentimental about them. But their tires get shot out as Freckles runs out of Tommy juice. Morty and the siblings pursue on foot as the trio crash into a construction site. Freckle gets awkward around Ivy as she fixes the car, Rocky becomes a weasel and finds the power, as the others find them, so Freckle has to draw him away with a starting pistol.
Yeah.
It's not looking too good, but Rocky found an excavator full of dynamite to toss at them.
Circus comes to town! Come gather all around!
Oh, that's not good. Accidentally bombing the water tower actually gives them the opportunity to slip away. Mordecai's about to shoot them, but Ivy makes them second guess. So the trio makes it back on fumes to the Little Daisy's Cafe, which is the front to the Lackadaisy Speakeasy, secret bar in the basement, owned by Mitzi, played by Ash Wagner, the bearded lady with the voice of an angel.
However unbecoming, Atlas. That's my cue. Meet you downstairs.
Her husband Atlas, the former owner, died under mysterious circumstances. Going past Horatio the doorman, it's a bit of a slow day. There's regulars like Zib and Wick, played by Valentine Stokes and Bradley Graff. Zib's also part of the band and he's a little rough around the edges, while Wick is a little more sophisticated. They heavily imply, but if you know his last name is also Sable, you would have seen the sign that says Sable Stone Quarry when the trio crashed into it. And lastly, there's Victor with a K, played by Jason Marnakcha, who has a thick Slovakian accent, one eye, and I'm pretty sure he's just a straight-up tiger. He's the bartender that everyone's scared shitless about because he's far more of a bouncer. But the trio arrived with their loot of whiskey and its coffin varnish.
Well, it'll certainly start your engine.
So yeah, when you ban alcohol, you also ban regulating it in any way.
It beats radiator fluid.
So yeah, bootleggers basically sold anything and everything and said it was, and that's before the government purposely started distributing poison to cut down on bootlegging.
We can call it the Sunset Rose Cocktail.
Well, they only got a few bottles, the car is totaled. Well, okay, I guess they got some bottles. Let's dance.
You know the Charleston?
No.
The Lindy Hop?
No.
The Roundabout? The Jingle Jangle? The Pizza Noodle?
Victor cares a lot about Ivy. As Mitzi starts feeling the ghost of Atlas and imagining the Lackadaisy has plenty of potential, and it certainly does.
Ruthless, infamous hatchet man Mordecai Heller is calling me to ask for a ride.
Yes.
That guy on the other line is Asa Sweet. This pilot just rocks. I love the characters. They're all just so full of life. And I really like they take advantage of them being cats instead of just they so happen to be cats. Their big teethy grins, their glowing eyes, their bushy tails that reacts to everything just adds so much character. The lighting's amazing with different colors for each location. The animation's smooth as butter, but sometimes you get to see the sketch placeholder, skeleton storyboard thing. Missouri is a large state, but surprisingly not that common of a location in media. And it's almost criminal to have a setting in the 1920s and not have it take place in Louisiana or Chicago or maybe even New York. It's a good reminder that this was a nationwide event, and the detail that the Lackadaisy is in a limestone cave, so they clearly did their research about St. Louis during the Prohibition. 9 out of 10. I really was planning to do this video like forever ago, but recently it was revealed that Lackadaisy was picked up by Glitch. But of course can't do anything without people complaining and being stupid. So the announcement also came around the time when a bunch of other shows were getting picked up by Glitch, a production company doing their job, helping people produce their shows. But a bunch of stupid people online got really angry over this and started thinking that Glitch is going to become the next Rooster Teeth and go super corporate, while at the same time drawing lines in the sand saying you can only be corporate or indie, which will somehow lead to a big civil war between big studios and independent media, and those who are fans of independent media will start terminating anyone who disagrees with them, which is about as likely as a plane wheel falling out of the sky and crushing you, because in reality Glitch is doing nothing but helping them produce the show they want by giving them the resources. And everyone who worked on the pilot is still involved in the series. It's not like Glitch bought Lackadaisy, fired everyone, and did their own thing with it. Or bought Lackadaisy just to kill it afterwards. If you seriously believe in those conclusions, then just shh. It's gonna be okay. It's alright. You don't need to be paranoid. But what you should do is hit the like button and subscribe if you're new.